Okay, so we're live on the Watch channel. Is anybody there? It was a bit longer coming along because I made a cup of tea. I got that done quickly enough. But then I was trying to get a photograph from my iPhone. Watch people are obviously Bugsy Malone. Hello. Sorry, I was hoping to be about 10 minutes early. I was still trying to figure this live streaming business out. I was trying to get a picture from my Apple 13 Pro thing onto the Mac, which I'm using, but it sent it over there, sending it into downloads, and then I don't know where it's going. And I was trying to use that picture, just one of the pictures I took earlier, is the header picture for this. You are the first live stream viewer, Bugsy. Yes, definitely. You're the first one here. Yes. So we'll have to give you some sort of star or something like that. Or is it a star, or is it? I'm not sure if being the first on the live stream watching me is necessarily a good thing to be telling everybody. So I've got to try and figure out how to get the pictures from here onto the Mac, because it went to the download, but then I couldn't find it. And then it was saying that the image was too large because it had to be under 2 megabytes. So then I couldn't get it on. I then couldn't get it on the screen. So I'll figure that out. So I wasted a few minutes there. Anyway, from my last live stream to here. So if anyone is watching this one, if anyone is stupid enough to watch me here, then I did a live stream on my camping channel, and then we've now hopped over here. Have you got a question, Bugsy? If you're still there. I shall be boasting all week like a madman. Yes, I think you definitely will be, actually. You'll be mad after this one. That is for sure. Go and get Paul and Archie and all those other people. Go and get them. Come and watch this madman watching me being a complete and utter nutter here. So we'll chat here for a little while about watches, and then we'll kind of just see how it goes. Hopefully a few other people might pop over and join us. I was doing camping and hiking for 15-20 years, so I've got lots to talk about there. Watches, I kind of got into Rolex more by accident about 3.5 years ago. But I will say I've always been interested in watches. I've always had mainly one watch at a time. I've never done 2 watches like I do now. My first watch was an Adidas, which is, I've actually got it. Actually, I have to say, this wasn't my first watch. I would have had a watch before, but this was my first watch. It actually doesn't work now, and the hands, if you notice, the hour hand and the minute hand, they don't quite line up, unfortunately. So I'm not quite sure. The hour hand is a bit out, but I managed to get it going briefly. The battery hadn't completely been destroyed inside, hadn't been used for 20 years, and I put a Blue Shark strap on it, but it keeps stopping, so I'm not convinced that it's, although I think the digital part is still working there. It's just the hands don't want to turn, which is interesting. Anyway, it's a very old watch. So that was one of my first watches, and then I managed to get this one, and then I had this big beastie here. So I've always been quite used to, so if Mark is watching. I'm quite used to. Have I got it the right way around? Yes, I'm quite used to. I use a big one. So the deep sea dweller James Cameron should. I doubt it's much bigger than that. Probably a lot heavier, but it should fit on my wrist. Okay. So that was like my second watch. My first watch was a Timex, Tony, but I was only 5. I'm sure my first watch was probably a Timex as well, to be honest. I'm sure I must have had a Timex at some point in my life, and then a little Casio digital watch or something like that. This was like my first proper watch, which I probably got in about 95, 96, something around about that time, before I was sort of got into walking in the outdoors. And then once I got walking into the outdoors, that's when this one kind of came along. And in fact, this is a Timex, isn't it? There's a Timex as well. But I think I had a baby Timex. That's like a big Timex. And I got this one working a few months ago. I managed to get, because it's solar powered, that one. And the battery that was inside it, the solar powered battery that was inside it, packed up quite a long time ago. And then I got a Suunto watch, a Suunto Vector. I must try and find them. I don't know where they are at the moment, but I got a Suunto Vector watch and a Suunto something else watch, and I used them for walking along, like in the early 2000s, and then probably about 2012, something around about that. That's when I got the Suunto Ambit 3. I say 2012, it might be. It was probably after that, to be honest. It probably was more like 2015 or whenever the Suunto Ambit 3 came out. That's when I got, that's when I got that watch. And then I kind of got into this one. The next watch I had was a digital watch my dad bought me in Hong Kong. I couldn't believe it. I was sure space travel was just around the corner. Yeah, exactly. It's amazing how things have changed. Because the bizarrest things is, because when I was walking, this is watches, I know, but when I was walking and I had a GPS unit, because it is kind of connected. I had this GPS unit that was like the size of this watch pouch thing here, and that was like a Suunto or something like that, I think. GPS unit, massive, great big GPS unit. And if Chris ever watches this, then it's actually connected to his question as well. On the other channel, he asked about navigation and things. My first GPS unit, which I got in about 2003, 2002 or 3, was a GPS unit that was like almost bigger than this. Now, of course, they put GPS units in phones, which they've been doing for a long time now. And then, of course, now they've got them in watches like this, and they've clearly been doing that for quite a while, because the Suunto Ambit 3 that I had, whenever I got that, I can't remember when I got that now, but it must have been about whenever it came out, whatever year it came out, 2012, 15, something like that. So they've been putting GPS units are beginning teenier and teenier and teenier, ever since. And you'd think that if they were going to do that type of thing, that we would be sort of flying to the moon or something like that. I made this cup of tea earlier on. I didn't put a sweetener in it. Oh. I don't know about other people, but I do need to have a sweetener or something like that. I can't drink tea that hasn't got sugar in or something. So that's really, kind of like brought me up to date on watches now. And then when I met Dina, as I say, I have actually done a little video on this, and I'll try and get that transferred over, and I'll probably do like a more up-to-date video on it. But basically, when I met Dina, she went to this fake Rolex thing, so I was stupid, and I said, right, I'll get it for you. It was 50 quid or something stupid. So I got this fake watch for her, and she was in Ukraine, and she's found this other fake watch in one of the stores out there, and when you look to the back of it, obviously you get this one, but when you look to the back of it, you could like see the workings in there, like you can with some of the Omega watches now. And I was, I looked at this and I could see these bits whizzing around inside and everything. And because it's a stupid thing is, I don't know about other people, but I always thought that a Rolex had a battery in it. I didn't even realize that Rolex was windy uppy. You had to wind the thing up. I didn't know anything about that either. I thought you put a battery in it or something. I couldn't work out why they were so expensive either, to be honest. I wish I knew. So I got this little light on over here, so I hope it's giving a bit more light on me now. It's gone dark. It's just a cheapy light. I'm just using the computer. This isn't any magic setup or anything like that. This is just literally the Mac. I'm using the Mac thingy here. So basically, I saw these workings on the inside of this watch, and I thought, actually, that does look quite interesting. Actually, it's got my interest piqued, as they say, and I started thinking, well, I'm never going to be able to afford a Rolex, even though I kind of like had the money, as it were. I was thinking, well, chucking my money into a Rolex or anything like that, and I looked at the Omega, and I thought the Omegas looked really, really nice. And I went along to the authorized dealer, met Mark for the first time, which was kind of interesting because he put these Omegas to one side, because he put Planet Ocean to one side for me to look at and a Seamaster for me to look at. And I was like looking at these two watches, because basically when I looked at the innards of this fake watch of Dina's, I was then sort of thinking, because that does look interesting. And I then just looked on the internet, looked up some YouTube videos on watches and looked up on the internet. And I thought, well, actually, maybe an Omega would be quite nice to get, something a bit different, like get a nice proper watch. I was getting a bit older, to kind of like, treat myself, as they say. So I was kind of thinking, well, that's okay, then I'll get an Omega. So I went along, looked at these two Omegas, and before going along, I basically was looking at YouTube videos, and I saw a YouTube video of a Yachtmaster. I don't know if I got mine around actually. Hang on. I got my Yachtmaster here, I'm not sure. I don't keep them all. I usually keep some of them in the bank or in the safe or something, but I try to keep one or two. I like to swap them around a bit. You keep them all hidden away, you can't enjoy them, can you? So basically, obviously, I've got this one on the. I got this one on the strap now, but basically, and obviously it's on the rubber B strap now because I like messing around with. That's on a proper strap there, isn't it? But my desk around here, I've got straps there. I've got thingy bobs there. I've got pins. All this lying around me. It's an absolute clutter here. It's a good job. Another strap there. It's a good job you can't actually see my desk. There's just more straps there. It's a little bit of a clutter around here. So anyway, when I was looking at this Omega watch in the authorized dealer local to me, I said, just out of curiosity, we got the blue Yachtmaster, and the sales assistant there, Mark, said, yes, I got it in the window back then. So 3.5 years ago, you could actually, this was sitting in the window. Can't even see them in the window now, but this was sitting in the window. And tell us, Tony, what stage in this process did you discover Archiluttery, and what on earth did you think? That's actually a good question. I can answer that actually in a minute. I can answer that. So as soon as I saw this damn thing, I thought, well, there's absolutely no way I can get an Omega when I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking that this was just so nice. It just completely blew the Omega out the water, literally. Bond didn't stand a chance. So I thought about it for a few minutes, and then I got this. Well, you know the YouTuber, the doggy chap, the doggy chap. What's his name? Anyway, whatever. I can't think of his name now. But the one in America. What's his name? He has the dogs, the kennels, and things like that. He does some he does some videos, doesn't he? I can't think of his name now. Gone. Yes, Goldberg. That's the one. Exactly. Thank you. He was yes, Goldberg. He was chatting. He doesn't really chat so much on the forums. He pops on now and again, and then he just disappears. You don't see him so much on the forums. But I think he popped on one of the forums at some point, and he mentioned. Oh, God, trust me. He mentioned something about the pontiff, and I thought he meant the bloody Pope, because he said the pontiff had such and such a watch. I can't remember what it was now, but he said something about, of course, it was something about that he had a watch or something, and he said it was the pontiff, and I seriously thought he was talking about the bloody Pope in Rome, and then it must have been a month or 4 or 5 or maybe, I don't know, it was a while, and then somehow I stumbled across one of Arch's videos, and then I was watching him, and I didn't even know he was the pontiff. I still hadn't twigged, and then I think someone else then said, "I'm here for the watches. Weirdly, neither used a watch as time is irrelevant." Well, that is definitely true, Carl. Time is irrelevant, isn't it? So, Carl, I was just answering a question that Bugsy was just asking as you just popped along. There's this chap, you wouldn't have seen him, obviously, because he's very, very eccentric. I don't know how else you would describe him, but he's very eccentric, very loud, reasonably knowledgeable. But he certainly seems to think he's knowledgeable. And his name's Archie Luxury. What's his real name, Bugsy? Put his name there, his name. My brain's just gone dead now. But anyway, someone said that the pontiff had this watch, and I thought he was talking about the Pope, but it's this chap Archie Luxury, and he's quite funny to watch. He is quite funny to watch, and he's so loud. Poor Pluto. Yeah, that's poor Pluto. I think I'm tired. It's late and I'm tired. I can't concentrate. I need more tea. Yeah, poor Pluto. That's right. There's got poor thought, poor Pluto. Yeah, I don't know how you. He's a character, isn't he? He really is a character, and he screams and shouts he's like really happy. He's like screaming and shouting, and he's got his face is right in your face. You kind of think any minute now, is that's going to come out? You're like watching it on your phone like this, because I'm usually watching it on the phone or something like this, and you kind of think, is that going to pop out the phone or something like that? Yeah, he's a character, is old Archie, because he says one thing and then he does something completely. Because he says one thing and then because it's this timepiece gentleman thing. You know, one minute he was saying he was supporting him, and then he was saying he wasn't supporting him, and I can't quite work out which side of the fence he's on. And he had Tim Wright on the other day, didn't he? So yeah, he's quite a character. So I must admit, I tend to watch him for the entertainment. I kind of watch him for the entertainment, really. I just be careful with my finger constantly on the volume, because he really does scream and shout when he's talking, and it's you kind of got to be on the ball there to turn him down. So I don't know. Anyway, for Archie Luxury, yeah, he's a funny character. So who's also? So Mike's popped along. Time is an abstract concept. Time is interesting though, because until I got married. And now I'm never on time. we're always a bit behind now, to say the least. But I was always prompt. I'm off to eat, Tony. Good luck. Thanks, Bugsy. Thanks for everything. We'll catch up. I know another time. Yeah, I mean, I've always had a watch ever since I was like very, very small, and I was able to wear a watch. Because some people, they grow up and they just never bother using a watch. Or these days, people just use their phones, don't they? But I've always had a watch of some description, a digital watch, something like that, going back a long time. And I've always wanted to know what the time is. I don't know why. You know, even when I was at school, I had a watch. Certainly at secondary school, I can't really remember about junior school, but certainly at secondary school, so I knew what time, you know, they do this or do that or whatever. But I've always wanted to know what the time is. And I'm always looking at my watch, you know, looking to see what the time is. And I would be absolutely lost, you know, if I didn't have a watch to, you know, to check the time. And even now, you know, I've got two of the bloody things now. But yeah, and I've always been fascinated with time, knowing what the time is, when I'm supposed to be doing something. Well, I used to. I know it doesn't work out that way now. But yeah, I've always been fascinated with time and trying to make sure I do such and such by a given time. Because if you watch the video when I put about what I do for a living on my camping channel, so go and pop over there and subscribe if you haven't. And I think the people who are watching here have come from over there anyway. But when you watch that, and I mention in there that this house was my grandparents' house, so I've been coming to this house now for all my life, for 50 years, that I remember, of course. And we used to come over. My granny always used to prepare afternoon tea at 4 o'clock, and you always had everything. So when I grew up, everything had a set time. Like I said, it's completely different now. But everything was a set time. We also had tea at 4 o'clock, and dinner was at such and such a time in the evening, and things like that. So I've always been a bit of a slave to the timepiece. I've always been a slave to the timepiece. But I've always had a watch, and I've never gone out without a watch. And if ever I have gone out without a watch, I recognised it straight away, and I end up having to go back into the house to put my watch on. But I virtually never forgot my watch. It's just that one thing that I just always have on me. I just always had a watch. It's been really, really, yeah. Has anyone got any more questions? Because I've been doing for like 15, 20 years. So I can talk about camping almost until the cows come home. The watches I've only been doing for a short while. So if you've got any other questions, whack them down there. If there was a watch to buy, what would be a great investment for the future? Well, there is only one. And getting hold of it is nigh on impossible these days. Probably a Patek Philippe or Vacheron or something like that. They're really even more expensive ones. They'll probably hold their value. Rolex is obviously another one. Most Rolex will hold their value or be an investment in the future. Although we try not to talk about them as an investment. Yeah, Big Ben, that's certainly that's worth a bit, isn't it? Can you imagine carrying I don't think even Godzilla could pull that one off. You could almost imagine Godzilla, traipsing through London, picking up Big Ben, wrapping his arms around like that as he's fighting off Ghidorah and all these other monster things and Rodan and everything like that. Oh, what's the time? What's the time there? as I'm fighting someone. But the other thing, G-Shocks. I've recently kind of started looking at G-Shocks a little bit. And the impression that I get with the G-Shock is, one, you can get them. And whilst I don't think they're going to, some G-Shocks actually do go up in value from what I've heard. But I think G-Shocks are quite good for value retention. Some of them, they're quite popular. People seem to be collecting those. Some people seem to be collecting those, quite a bit. But for an investment, then the Rolex is the one to go for. But you can't get them. I don't know whether you've seen any of my videos or anything like that. But on this, I've got another one I'm going to upload onto this channel soon. But you can't get them for love or money, and it's just lucky that I kind of just walked into this store 3.5 years ago, got this one, and then about a year and a half or a year after I got that one, I asked for the Polar Explorer, which is that white one that you might have seen a few times, and that kind of like started the ball rolling somewhat for me. And then obviously I then ended up getting some of the other ones. But if you go to a store, if you go to so when you're out and about and you pick up buying it, because I think it's just campers over here at the moment, so when you're going out and about and you're looking at your camping shops and things like that, if you go past a Rolex authorized dealer, have a look in the window, and there's no Rolex in the window. They have them at the moment. They're doing some exhibition watches. I can remember people collecting swatches years ago. Yes, because yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think I remember that as well. I never got one. But I think people did. Yeah, I think people did collect those. But yeah, if you go past a Rolex dealer, there are some that are on display as exhibition watches only. But you can't buy them. They just aren't any around. And in the video that we'll upload, this watch here, it's 10,000 when I bought it. They're selling them now on the grey market, like after they bought them, for like 30+ thousand for this one at the moment. But they're difficult to get hold of. But if you can, then yeah, that is an investment. I went back to my horological origins and bought a couple of Timex Expeditions. It's the indigo function I just love, to push the crown and the whole face illuminates. I've seen some pictures of those bugs here, and there's another company, but I don't know the names of some of these watches. I must admit, I'm right on the element of my knowledge on this. But there is another one, isn't there? And I don't know whether it's a mechanical watch or whether it's a digital watch, and that whole face lights up. I don't know what it's called though, I must admit, but it's not a Timex. I think it's yes, good God. yeah, it's exactly, it's a 10,000 pound watch. You can't get it for love nor money. And if you look on something called Chrono 24, CHONO 24, Chrono 24, Rolex Daytona on there, 35,000. That's what they're trying to sell them for. They're freakingly expensive. It's one of the most difficult to get hold of. But even the basic, relatively basic stainless steel Rolex watches, you can't get them. Like I said, I've got a video coming out soon on that. So yeah, they're difficult because, and again, I don't know, because all the people there at the moment, I think, the camping people. So Rolex, just for for information for you, because you probably won't know this, it's not a company, it's a charity. So the chap who set it up, he was English, so effectively it's an English company, and he moved over to Switzerland. I think Bugsy will Bugsy tell me if you're still here, but Hans, who owned Rolex, I think he founded it in 1907 or something like that, and in 1919 or something like that, stuff over to Switzerland, because that's where all the top watch companies were. And basically, when he went over there, he then kept it as a business. I don't know how long he kept it as a business for. That's another interesting question. Richard, if you're around, how long did he keep it as a business for? And when did it get switched over to a charity? But at some point, Hand, who owned Rolex, he changed it into a charity. And it's a charity. It's a charity. So that's why they don't have to make very many. What face do you have on your Fenix? I've got this one here. Sure how well that's showing up now, so well, isn't it? Let's try that. And I use this face the most. If I use that face the whole time, I know it's not the sharpest of picture, but I use that face the most. And that one gives me the battery, the date, which is useful. It gives me the height. I know I want to know the height, but it gives you information, so you may as well just have it there. The time, obviously the seconds, and then the barometric pressure at the bottom. And I like the white face. I don't want too much information on the screen, because if you have too much information on the screen, I can't see it with my eyes. I can't see it with my eyes quite so much. So if the writing, because you can get some faces on there now where you have like tons and tons and tons of information on there, and if you have too much, I can't see it. So I don't bother with those other faces. I mean, because you can change the face, can't you? So you can change it to, and it's really quick and easy to do. So you can like change it to that face, and then you sort of the different roundels and things like that. But they're quite dark, and I kind of struggle to see them. And you can get the hands. Most of them are like hands, aren't they? But I kind of sort of think there's not much point in having hands here when I got hands on this. So that's why I don't bother with the hands. And then you've got this one here, which is like digital. If you can see it there, and that's got like loads of information on it. You've got, but it's so small. Oh yeah, and I've always got it set up. Oh, it's telling me the battery on my phone is going down. That's right too. That's clever, isn't it? So 10% there, and it's gone now. But it was telling me the battery on the phone was going down. So I can put it on this face here, but I can't see without my glasses, and I don't know where my glasses are offhand. I think they're in the rucksack or something. I need to get a second pair of glasses, really. Then I have one pair here and one pair, because I always make sure I've got a pair of glasses. I always make sure I got my glasses handy for camping, because if I've got the map, and I've got my map handy, I've got the map and I can't look at it because I can't see it, because it's too small and my eyes can't see it now so clearly. And then if I'm looking at this and I can't see the mapping on this too well, I always make sure I've got my glasses with me. So I'd rather kind of like have my glasses in my rucksack ready for camping than here. Although if I'm changing straps, I use the glasses for changing straps on this. And then of course I can change straps on this, on the Rolex. So I can change, so I've got all these straps, got all these straps for changing watches, and straps on that. And then of course I can change the straps on that. So I've got straps. I've got 1,000. So Mike, did you, because you've obviously got the Fenix now, haven't you? Did you get any of the extra straps for yours? So I got the orange one, and I've got the leather one. I must actually wear this leather one. I'll leave that out. I'm going to leave that leather one out, and I'm going to put that one on. I've worn that for ages. So I've got quite a few straps for the Fenix, and that's my sum of my strap collection there. So it's not great as the packet keeps falling apart. Just a black one, yeah. Check out some of these other ones because they're really quite nice. So just a change up of, because this is the nylon one, and that nylon one is really comfortable. Because you might have seen the video I did on this, but this nylon one is really, really comfortable. And I actually took it swimming the other day, and it didn't really absorb the water either. I thought it would like stay wet, and it would be like uncomfortable because I actually meant to change it before I went swimming, and then I forgot to change it. But actually, it was fine. So the nylon one is really quite nice there, and then this leather one is really nice too. And then I just got loads of those other coloured ones. It's just nice to sort of change them around, a little bit. So with that watch face that we were looking at, it's actually gone now. Where was that? There was so much information on it. Yeah, this one here. There's so much information on there, and it's so small, I literally can't work out. I think the date's at the bottom, battery percentage, there's something at the top left. Oh, it's heart. Oh, yeah, it's a heart. It's my heart's pumping anyway. So yeah, it's got a heart rate there. And I think the top right is calories burnt or something. Then your steps. But Jesus Christ, I can't see it. So I just go for that one, bright white, gives me the time, and that's all and then I can see everything then. So you went for the titanium one with the solar. Yeah, I did ask about the solar, and the kind of like the feedback that I got was that the solar in this country, in the Garmin, is maybe not necessarily worth getting at the moment, because I think when Timex put solar into this one, I'm thinking that the whole screen was solar. So obviously solar technology has been around for a very, very long time, but for some reason, I'm not quite sure why, I did know, and I've forgotten, but for some reason with the I think it's maybe I don't know, I can't remember now, but for some reason with these, the only part of the solar energy is from around the outside, and that takes 100% solar power, and then the bit in the middle only takes, I think it's like 10% solar power. There is a reason why Garmin can't do the whole screen solar power, but I can't remember what it is offhand. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if that was the only one that you could get, then that was the one to get. And if that was the only one that I could have got, I would have done exactly the same thing. The only reason I mainly got this one is because when I ordered it, which was from Snow and Rock in Harrods, because I had some points off and everything else like that, and it was the only one that they had. But if exactly like you, if they'd have had the solar one, then I would have got the solar one if that had been all that was available. But this was all that was available. So the same as you, I just got what was available, to be honest. Bugsy, I'm going camping tomorrow near Rudden Hill. Get chops and cream cakes at the ready. It's the best time of the year now. All the summer campers have gone. Yeah, that is true. They've all buggered off home now, haven't they? As soon as you get outside of the summer months, past September, into October, that's when everybody, it's too cold then for anybody to go camping then, yeah. So it is a nice time to be camping, that is for sure. The water's starting to run out. Any other questions or anything like that? Help me along on this one a little bit. I'll have to think of some stories or something like that, won't I, for watchers. I am thinking about, just for the fun of it, the G-Shocks, just to get one, just as, because they seem to be quite popular. So that is something that has, just crossed my mind that I might get. I'm just not quite sure where I'm gonna put it. I know a nutter who is going to Scotland soon. Is that you, Mike? You going up to Scotland? So, any other questions? Any other questions? Because I probably will disappear in a minute. We can talk about, when we come back another time, we can talk about, other YouTubers who do watches and things like that. But I won't get into that now, because it's coming up to 22:09, and I was thinking of trying to finish about 8, and I'm running a little bit behind anyway. So I probably had better disappear, but hopefully we will do another one of these again soon. Hopefully we'll get a few more bods coming along, and we can talk about Rolex, we can talk about Garmin. I'm also kind of like interested, like I said, in the G-Shock. I don't know if any of you have any of the G-Shocks, whether you can write notes down or anything like that down there, or any other watches and that type of thing that we can have a bit of a natter on. But this one's a little bit not quite so easy for me, because like I said, I've only been doing watches a little bit, and camping comes a bit easier than watching. But something a little bit different, and we will definitely be back again for more watch talk. We just talk the same stuff over and over again each time. Nobody will notice, so that'll be all right. It's been a good fun evening. We eventually started at 6:20 on walking and camping and things like that, and we're coming up to 8:40, so about 2.5 hours with a little break in between, nattering about different things. So yes, it has been fun and enjoyable, and we'll definitely be back again on the camping channel, talking, Dartmoor. A couple of weeks time we'll do a live chat from Dartmoor. Keep an eye out for that, and we'll try and do a bit more watch content from down there as well. It's quite handy just switching over there, and then if the watch people don't pop along, the walking people can come along anyway, and we can natter away about something down there anyway. Okay, so I don't see any other questions down there, so that's fine. I'm going to get going. It has been very, very enjoyable. Thank you very much for spending your time with me this evening, and hopefully we'll catch up with you. And then hopefully next time we'll have a few watchy people coming on that can ask some questions and help me along a little bit, and we will see how it goes. CK and C. It's fine. You don't have to be mad to camp in Scotland. CK. I was like thinking CK and C. Yeah, Cornish knives and camping. Well, Scotland is a very, very nice place to be camping. That is for sure. I'll try and get up there one day, but finally got up to the Lake District, and I'll try and get one more camp in there before winter, and then I'll enjoy that more. But like I said, I'm going to go, and I will see you all again in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully from Dartmoor. Should be a signal down there. That's it. I'm going to disappear. I need a cup of tea, something to eat. Getting my mouth dry. I'll see you all again soon. Take care. Thanks very much indeed for your time. Thank you for the questions. It was helpful to keep this one going along. I'll see you again in the near future. Thanks very much, and thank you for all of your support, over the many years and everything else like that. It is appreciated. Thanks very much. Catch up again soon. Bye-bye. I'm going to press the right button there. Hang on.